Sorcery and sanctity. These are the only realities. Each is an ecstasy, a withdrawal from the common life. I am speaking of the saints, but the sinners too. Holiness requires as great or almost as great an effort, but holiness works on lines that were natural once. It is an effort to recover the ecstasy that was before the fall. But sin is an effort to gain the ecstasy and knowledge that pertain alone to angels. And in making this effort, man becomes a demon. The saint endeavours to recover a gift which he has lost. The sinner tries to obtain something which was never his. In brief, he repeats the fall. What would your feelings be, seriously, if your cat or your dog began to talk to you and to dispute with you in human accents? You would be overwhelmed with horror, I am sure of it, and if the roses in your garden sang a weird song, you would go mad. And suppose the stones in the road began to swell and grow before your eyes, and if the pebble that you noticed at night had shot out stony blossoms in the morning.
I was 13, nearly 14, when I had a very singular adventure, so strange that the day on which it happened is always called the White Day. My mother had been dead for more than a year, and in the morning I had lessons, but they let me go out for walks in the afternoon. And this afternoon I walked a new way, and a little brook led me into a new country. But I tore my frock getting through some of the difficult places, as the only way was through many bushes and beneath the low branches of trees, and up thorny thickets on the hills, and by dark woods full of creeping thorns. And it was a long, long way. And I went on and on through that dark place. It was a long, long way. Beyond the woods there were other hills round in a great ring, but I had never seen any of them. It all looked black, and everything had a vor over it. It was all so still and silent, and the sky was heavy and grey and sad, like a wicked voorish dome in deep Dendo. I went on into the dreadful rocks. There were hundreds and hundreds of them. Some were like horrid grinning men. I could see their faces as if they would jump out at me out of the stone and catch hold of me and drag me with them back into the rock so that I should always be there. And there were other rocks that were like animals, creeping, horrible animals, putting out their tongues, and others were like words that I could not say, and others like dead people lying on the grass. I went on among them, though they frightened me, and my heart was full of wicked songs that they put into it, and I wanted to make faces and twist myself about in the way they did, and I went on a long way, till at last I liked the rocks, and they didn't frighten me any more. I sang the songs I thought of, songs full of words that must not be spoken or written down. Sometimes it was a man that sang, and sometimes it was a woman, and sometimes the one who sang it did it so well that 2 or 3 of the people who were there fell to the ground, shrieking and tearing with their hands. The singing went on, and the people in the ring kept swaying to and fro for a long time, and at last the moon would rise over a place they called the Tol Diol, and came up and showed them swinging and swaying from side to side, with the sweet thick smoke curling up from the burning coals, and floating in circles all around them. Then they had their supper. A boy and a girl brought it to them. The boy carried a great cup of wine, and the girl carried a cake of bread, and they passed the bread and the wine round and round, but they tasted quite different from common bread and common wine, and changed everybody that tasted them. Then they all rose up and danced, and secret things were brought out of some hiding place, and they played extraordinary games, and danced round and round and round in the moonlight, and sometimes people would suddenly disappear and never be heard of afterwards, and nobody knew what had happened to them. And they drank more of that curious wine, and they made images and worshipped them, and Nurse showed me how the images were made one day when we were out for a walk, and we passed by a place where there was a lot of wet clay. She knew how to do all the awful things, how to destroy young men, and how to put a curse on people, and other things that I could not understand. And her real name was the Lady Aveline, but the dancing people called her Cassap, which meant somebody very wise in the old language. And she was whiter than any of them and taller, and her eyes shone in the dark like burning rubies, and she could sing songs that none of the others could sing. And when she sang, they all fell down on their faces and worshipped her. And she could do what they called shibsho, which was a very wonderful enchantment. Then all the old stories came back again, and the queer rhymes that Nurse used to sing to me. And there was one beginning, Halsey Cumsey Helen Musty, that she used to sing very softly when she wanted me to go to sleep. And I began to sing it to myself inside of my head. And I went to sleep. It was a day or two after I had come home from the secret place that I first really knew the nymphs. Nurse had shown me how to call them, and I tried, but I did not know what she meant, and so I thought it was all nonsense. But I made up my mind I would try again. So I went to the wood where the pool was, where I saw the white people, and I tried again. The dark nymph, Alana, came, and she turned the pool of water into a pool of fire.
I can only say that it is no doubt better for the great mass of people to dismiss it all as a dream. But if you ask my veritable belief, that goes quite the other way. No, I should not say belief, but rather knowledge. I may tell you that I have known cases in which men have stumbled quite by accident upon certain of these processes, and have been astonished by wholly unexpected results. In the cases I am thinking of, there could have been no possibility of suggestion or subconscious action of any kind. You ask if she is still alive? No. I was one of those who found her.